Hello and welcome into episode 8 of the Stomp the Bus podcast. Joining us is Bet Rivers. I don't even know his title at Bet Rivers, but Bet Rivers employee Connor Pelton.
Social media manager, Mark.
Social media manager. Okay, he's the one who actually makes the
Bet
lines.
Rivers X Factor.
No. It's important to clarify. I do not make the lines. They don't let me do that.
No, you're right. But he does try to make the lines, and his name is Connor Pelton. He's here with us. We're going to be doing a college football gambling preview of the season to talk about some of the interesting odds around the college football landscape. So, Connor, how about you introduce yourself a little more and tell us about what you do at Bet Rivers.
Well, thank you, Mark. I graduated from the Arizona State University, where
That was a surprise.
took 4 years to learn how to do social media, and now I'm $100K in debt, and I'm putting it to good use at betrivers.com. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Am I your first guest on Stomp the Bus?
Yeah, you were number one.
You know what they say. You never forget your first, Mark.
You certainly don't. You certainly
Yeah,
don't.
we have
Glad
a
to have
terrible
you
booking
on.
agent. Mark hasn't been able to secure anybody else yet, so it's great to have you.
Thank you, Colton, or should I say, Brock Suggs.
Oh yes, that is a great callback to episode 1. A day one listener, Connor.
Yeah, dedicated listener. Probably our most dedicated listener.
It's true. Do you think
never misses a net?
Do you think you've hit your white men in their mid-20s quota, or do you think we can get a few more in here next week?
Ooh, have a bunch of guys on the same show.
Mark, you take that one. You're the producer, booking agent. You're the Jackie Moon of this show, man.
Well, we'll see.
Not the most diverse show I've ever seen.
No.
That's what Mark went over that in our last production meeting. He's going to really emphasize that moving forward. So we're gonna start doing our part. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely not an actual quota for that. Just to be super clear, Connor comes in stirring the pot.
Right
already. I should expect nothing else.
Hey, you told me I could do jokes.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to be here.
Might be a regret.
Why did you give him free reign to just kind of introduce himself? You knew that was going to happen.
That was my first mistake.
Yeah. Come on, man. You're already doing PR damage control right off the bat.
Hey,
that's how it was going to go.
You got to get ahead of it. You got to get ahead of it.
Connor has been one of my most seasoned acquaintances. Him and I go way back in our acquaintanceship. A lot of crushing gambling losses together. But I have to say, I had one pretty enjoyable hot streak last March during March Madness. And let this be a lesson that there's a reason all these sites market 4-leg parlays as much as they do. Because that's how they make their money. And I was their cash cow for quite a while. And it wasn't until Connor got me off of parlays and just sat me down and said, hey, make these as single bets. I'm betting, what was it, Wisconsin. I remember the game well, Wisconsin-Purdue.
Sure.
It started
yes. Big Ten tournament. Yeah.
Tuesday night started the run of the century. So shout out to Connor. Bet Rivers X Factor.
Responsible gaming. It's the name of the game.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, if you have watched through these first 4 minutes and 23 seconds of the show, we'd love you to like and subscribe our YouTube video and to subscribe to the podcast that comes out on Apple generally every Thursday of the week. That's what it's been so far. That schedule might change as the season moves along. And before we get to the betting, the fun stuff, we have some little news nuggets to talk about. First one relates to the NIL front, and that would be on Monday, ASU players released the Tempe NIL Club, which is different than the Sun Angel Collective. The Tempe NIL Club is basically just straight up giving money that goes like literally straight to the football team. So it's another interesting venture. A lot of other colleges or college football teams have come out with similar type clubs where it's just the name of the city and then NIL club. So it must be coordinated through a larger marketing company or something. But Connor, I'll let you answer first. You were the one wearing the Sun Devil jersey. What do you think of this news?
I think Tempe NIL Club sounds like a pretty good sandwich. The crowd goes wild. Like a club BLT, Mark.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was a little too smart for the room.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
Right, I honestly forgot we were recording.
Chemistry's too natural.
I was reading this walk-on thing, but yeah, that's funny because Ike is the one who started this new NIL initiative. So the Tempe NIL Club, started by Ike.
Where does it say it's started by Ike?
Mark's like frantically reading. How did I miss that? No, we're just sticking with the sandwich theme here.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, wait, I should probably open the link talking about it.
The ratings on this episode might not be great, Mark. I apologize for that.
Wait, hang on, I'm reading.
They don't have to be great to beat what we've been doing.
I don't ever read the content. I don't ever read the content before the show. I like my reactions to be natural in the moment. But that does make for some dead air while I am reading the content that Mark provides for me.
Good job spelling it.
Mark, have you ever seen the show Silicon Valley?
I have.
Great reference.
You look a lot like Guilfoyle right now.
If Mark and Jacob...
He's trying to join the three comma club.
Yes, sir.
Did you just say you haven't seen it and then made a reference from it?
No, I said I have seen it.
Oh, okay. I was about to get upset.
He just scans the internet for references. He doesn't actually watch the episodes.
Yeah, I just finished. I think it's probably my 4th or 5th rewatch of Silicon Valley, and a very underrated scene is when Big Head gets the big head back, and Jared is like, "Oh, it's really good. It's fitting too because of your nickname." And Big Head's like, "Oh yeah, because Nelson." And it just got me so good on the 4th time around. So excellent show.
It is a great show. Well,
but
hopefully
this
someone
from Mark, is this what you were talking about? So there was Connor. Let me get you up to speed. There was an episode where Mark said that he wanted an NIL platform for fans, where fans could donate, so that he could be on Mill after a game and donate money. Is what I think you said, right, Mark?
Well, I use that as like a general example.
Okay, so that's what this is, though, right?
Well, it's just a different outlet of a NIL. Like I think this is more like it's more like connected to the football players. Like all the players like tease it on Twitter the day before and released like videos that are on the site actually of, hey, it's so and so from ASU football. We'd love you to support the Tempe NIL Club. So I think it's like even more connected to the team than even the Sun Angel one is. So
okay, so this was between like the team and the fans. So like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so
it would just you could. I mean, it has a button on the site that says support now. So
I didn't even see that. Where's that at?
It's just another avenue for them to get paid. So
Mark, when is the Stomp the Bus collective starting?
That's going to be a while. Stomp the Bus has a very limited budget, so.
Oh, so this is almost like a Patreon.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, because there's an online community, digital events with players, players get paid, player content, all of that stuff. I mean, if they start doing NFTs, maybe I'll join, but
NFTs.
big NFT guy. Wait, but yeah, this looks cool. And Mark, I'm sure you'll lob your $5 donation here pretty soon.
Make it big.
And get involved. That way you don't have to aggressively tweet after the game. You can get in this online community and you and a bunch of other like-minded people can yell at each other.
Well, it's not a message board.
Yeah, it is. It says online community, right?
I think
I guess it is a message board.
Yeah, it is a message board.
Yeah.
Join members-only message boards and chat.
Yeah, I have. Okay.
So yeah, that might be more effective than Twitter, man.
It's not about being effective. It's just about expressing your emotions, Colton.
I feel that.
Hey,
whatever avenue you need, I support that.
Whether it be Mill Avenue or something completely different.
I lobbed it up. He slammed it home.
There we go.
So we were roommates for 3 years.
Connor was my James Jones. You know who I miss? Hang on, before we move on, shout out Zach Williams.
I wonder if he's listening.
We get Zach on the pod.
We should get Zach.
That would be a risky proposition.
That would be probably the end of Stomp the Bus. I'd get a text from Mark almost immediately saying, "We definitely can't post this." So maybe we don't get Spawn on, but I hope he's doing well. I've been thinking about him lately.
So has the mayor of Peoria.
Oh man.
Well, if Zach Williams is still athletic as he was in college, maybe he is trying out for ASU football.
Your segue is better every week.
Wow.
ASU football is asking for walk-ons.
Yeah, in September. It seems a little late.
Sorry, it's not loading for me. It said it's in September. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on September 2nd.
To submit all of the requirements. The first game is like September what? September what? 6th?
The first game is the day I think it's September 1st.
Okay,
so they would play the first game.
Right, so you're just gonna get some walk-ons on for like weeks 3 through whatever. Like if they make the team, obviously it's not I mean, I think it would be pretty like it's no guarantee that somebody's actually gonna make the team. But if they do, it's like why do it so late? Why wouldn't they do this in like the spring? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. Maybe it's about just like it's probably just about injury depth and just having guys fill in on special teams and stuff like that. Because I think they're below the 83 scholarship player threshold. I think they're like
weren't they below that threshold in the spring too?
Intentional, right, Mark?
Yeah, but well, I mean, it's a tryout. Well, it's for walk-on, so it wouldn't even affect the scholarship.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be scholarship players. So. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's cool. I'm sure all the guys who used to play football at the park downtown are excited, but I don't.
I hope that ASU is not focusing on sports journalism majors for their.
Hey, these were EXW majors, Mark. There's more than just journalism students at the downtown campus. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, those guys are probably hyped. They're probably in like 6th or 7th year of eligibility. So hopefully they still have some wiggle room and they can get out there and make it happen finally.
Yeah, I mean, Connor, you live within walking distance of the practice field. You could take a stroll on over and try out. Have you thought about that?
Please refrain from doxing me for the duration of the podcast. Yeah, I don't know what position I would thrive in. Maybe cornerback, Colton. We've discussed that.
Elton Island.
You could be a pass rushing specialist too. You're fast and you're long. I think if you work on the finesse moves, your club rip and your hands, and really utilizing your ability, your elusiveness, I think you could really be sort of a matchup play at defensive end.
I know you've been dying to talk about Vince Papale ever since Mark brought up open tryouts. So
yeah,
take it away.
I think we're gonna see more of the guys who showed up in the Cape than we will Vince Papale's. But who knows, man? Maybe there will be a Papale, or maybe there will be some guys in capes, but maybe they can play a nose tackle role for this team and really clog all the running lanes. Who knows? We'll see.
Great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I love that movie. Excellent reference, Connor. But yeah, I'd say corner or some sort of outside linebacker for you.
Place kicker, maybe.
Hey, as long as hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, Connor. If you put your
You come up with that quote?
If you put your hours in the film room and really focus on mental reps, they won't be able to take the opportunity from you. And at least you'll get all the free stuff, which is what matters. Which is why you play college sports, to get all the free stuff.
I could join the Tempe NIL club.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And Mark could support you.
That's right. Make you rich, Connor.
Thank you, Mark.
Just something to explore. Just something to explore, I think.
Yeah. So hopefully ASU doesn't have to call for walk-on tryouts a month into the season like Arizona did last year. So, but we aren't too far off. So that's how the football team's looking. About a week into the first game here.
Wait, can you just like walk on? I didn't know there was like a designated tryout time for walk-ons.
Well, I don't think there is a designated time. I think it's just
so if they're advertising it, they're like, "Please, we need bodies. Come try out."
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's just specific to any school, and if they're even having it. So, yeah,
makes sense.
So So taking a little break away from the football talk, it was also announced this week that ASU's multi-purpose arena, that's most notably known as the new hockey arena, will be named the Mullet Arena, which I was very confused at first. Like, why are they naming an arena after a hairstyle? But it was, of course, donated by two ASU boosters. Donald.
That was your first thought, Mark. Why are they naming this arena after a hairstyle?
I don't know why they would name it Mullet Arena.
Oh,
I'd never met anyone with the last name Mullet, but apparently Donald and Barbara Mullet are big ASU fans and a big enough fan to donate money to get their arena named. So
wait, are these the people who like helped fund the team like being established? And
they brought hockey to the desert.
Yeah. So these are the people who really brought hockey to the desert.
So according to Vice President for University Athletics Ray Anderson, quote, "The Mullet family has supported Sun Devil hockey through every stage of its existence and expanded their support of Sun Devil athletics in the years since. In appreciation of Don and Barbara's commitment, we're thrilled to announce the Mullet Arena." So they're big ASU hockey boosters, and now ASU hockey and the Coyotes have a sweet arena name.
So what you're telling me is they used to financially support the team, and then the team gave them a polo shirt.
I guess. I mean, and the name of an arena.
That's cool.
Some people like having their names on buildings.
Something about the hockey team giving people polo shirts.
I don't get what you're talking about. So,
all right,
another super specific inside joke from Colton on the podcast.
I love inside jokes. I'd love to be a part of one someday.
It's not the best. Maybe it's because we have like 6 listeners, but my target audience is Connor right now, and I have to shift my focus to a wider lens. Right now, all of my content is solely pandering to Connor, and it's making everything too niche, I think.
I respect that. It's going to do great in the Connor household. Oh, one of us.
Yeah, we're a guest. We're in the podcast community. They call us the Guests Podcast because of how well we take care of our guests.
I love it.
So, yes. Tell your friends.
It's like Rogan.
Tell Mark Spirit.
Yeah, I'm sorry you couldn't get Mark Schlereth on, but the next best thing from Bet Rivers.
Mike Ditka?
Yeah.
Now, Mark, come on. Have some respect.
He's still alive.
No, I mean, have some respect for me.
Oh.
For a second, I was like, wait, did Mike Ditka die?
No, sorry.
All right.
He's not young,
I didn't think
but
so.
he's still kicking it on the Bet Rivers grind.
Still putting out
Mark,
content.
do one of your segues.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to do is he's kicking it on the Bet Rivers grind along with Connor Pelton, who's going to help us go through some college football futures as the season is almost upon us. Connor, you're the biggest college football fan I know.
All right.
Yeah, quite a compliment. What's kind of a big theme that you're looking towards this season? Just kind of could be the Pac-12, ASU in general. What's something that comes to mind?
I mean, there's a few Pac-12 win totals that I've been zeroed in on for months now.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Maybe the bookmakers just overlooked this conference since it's kind of dropped off the face of the earth. But there's some good value out there from what I like Arizona's win total, of Colorado's, Washington State. A lot of good options. I'll save my big one for later.
Okay.
But yeah, I love win totals, and I think there's a lot of value throughout the Pac-12 if that tickles your fancy, Mark.
It does tickle my fancy. It does. Lots of underrated spots to get. We could start out with Pac-12 conference winner odds. Right now on Bet Rivers, USC is the favorite at plus 200, followed by Utah plus 240 and Oregon slightly in third at plus 250. ASU is tied for the second worst odds at plus 4,000 with California or Cal to win the conference. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I'm kind of surprised to see USC as the leader. I feel like at most places it's been Utah.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to pull it up. So I don't know how much help I can be right now. I'm looking for it. Connor, if you want to take this one, feel free.
I know USC has made a lot of flashy additions this summer. I just don't see them going to the title game year one. And even if they get to that title game, beating Utah or Oregon, don't see it happening. I don't think there's a lot of value there. I think something like 9-3, maybe 10-2 is their ceiling this season.
Yeah, 9-3 feels like a very USC type season where they have some spots that they lose a close game or two, but ultimately they still show themselves as being a very good team, just maybe not good enough to win the conference. Colton, what stands out to you on the Pac-12 conference winner odds?
Well, it's from the odds maker's perspective. It's really just a 3-man race here, a 3-team race. Beyond Oregon, the drop off is plus 1,000 with UCLA, so they don't really see some outside team coming in and some long shot coming in and taking it. I don't know. It's weird because this conference in the past has always been so. It's why we've seen such few teams from the Pac-12 contend for one of those playoff spots, because they kind of implode. They beat each other so badly to the point that there isn't one team that comes out. And with the divisionless sort of structure implemented, I think it makes sense that it's really top heavy, because you're not going to get one of those teams from like the South or something like that. Like obviously USC and Utah are the top two teams, or like, you had to have a team from each side come and play for it, but now you won't. I don't know. I think that disparity between the top three teams and every other team after that is pretty jarring. It's hard to find that value when everybody else is so far behind. It's just going to be which team takes the leap. If you're looking at a dark horse, I don't know, UCLA under Chip Kelly, I feel like has always been a perennial underachiever. I don't know if they're going to be that team. I feel like for whatever reason, and it's not just because Connor is on this show, Oregon State is what jumps out at me if you're looking for like a Hail Mary long shot, somebody that could be around at the very end. We talked
Plus
about
3,300.
Yeah, how much they've improved. And they could, if a couple things go their way, they could maybe make some noise if you're looking for a team that isn't in that top three. But out of that top three, I don't know. It's not like you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I feel like it's obviously USC has all the talent. They could very well do it. Maybe that talent just wins out. And I agree with Connor in the sense that like it'll be tough to do it year one. But that roster is pretty talented, and that I keep thinking of his name is blanking me, but won the Biletnikoff at Pitt, transferring to USC. Jordan Addison. I keep thinking of Jordan Addison, Oklahoma court, Caleb Williams, and Lincoln Riley. And obviously, we talked about the marquee names and everything like that. But I feel like USC, if we're looking at these top three teams, might just take the conference by storm and, leave everybody in the dust on their way out. So if I'm going chalk, I'll probably just go USC. But if I'm looking for a long shot Hail Mary, at the odds, with the odds the way they are, I think I'm looking at Oregon State.
Yeah, definitely for me, I would go with Utah plus 240. I'm kind of surprised they're not the favorite. So that's good value. And then in terms of a long shot, yeah, ASU I think can do better than people think from a wins and losses record, but I don't think they could win the conference. I think I would go with Oregon State too at plus 3,300. They have a great running game. And Jonathan Smith's a great coach. Defense hopefully will be average. So we'll see about that. I think Wazoo at plus 2,500 is a good wild card, just if Cam Ward turns out to be incredible. So yeah, Connor, what would be a dark horse Pac-12 champion winner that you see from the list?
What's Washington at right now, Mark?
Washington is at plus 1,000.
I really like that number. I bet it today over 7.5 wins. That's my Joe Biden student loan forgiveness lock of the season. Putting all 10,000 on that. The Huskies open with 3 non-conference games at home. Then they get Stanford at home. They don't go on the road until September 30th. This was a pretty talented team on paper that was just like decimated by its coaching staff last year. And yeah, I think they could make some serious noise. The schedule really opens up for them. They do have to go to Eugene and to Pullman, but win one of those, I think they could sneak into the conference title game. And then at plus 1,000, like it's worth a flyer for sure. But yeah, hammer over 7.5 wins.
Okay. He's giving away money, folks. Giving it away.
Wait, where are you guys seeing the totals for like wins? I'm only seeing conference winner.
You have to go to individual teams, so you got to scroll down.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so I'm thinking before we get to ASU, let's talk about maybe two of the national topics, the national championship winner and then maybe the Heisman winner. Shockingly, Alabama is the preseason title favorite at plus 125 to win it, followed by Ohio State at plus 250 and Georgia at plus 450. Clemson is fourth at plus 2,000. And USC and Texas A&M are tied for fifth best to win the national championship at plus 2,000. To me, I only really feel like three teams have a chance to win the national championship, and it's the three teams with the best odds being Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia. If I were to bet, I would pick Ohio State just because I think they have just incredible receivers, a great quarterback, and there's just better value than picking Alabama.
Yeah, pulling it up right now. Definitely. I don't know. Maybe even just looking at what I'm saying, A&M kind of jumps out at me a little bit on this list as like a possible value play there. Kind of just scrolling through here. I feel like USC is really high on this list.
Yeah.
For 6, that's pretty crazy. Obviously a ton of hype. We talked about it, but the 6th highest team in terms of odds are tied for the 6th highest with A&M though. A&M has made a ton of strides.
Tied for 5th, but yeah.
Yeah, tied for 5th. There we go. But yeah, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, the usual suspects. And then again, that huge drop off. But that's just college football, right? It's always kind of a 3-team race by the time it gets down to it. So I don't know. I think A&M is interesting there. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm looking for Arizona State so I can place my bet.
I know. I scrolled all the way down there.
There it is.
I don't know where they are in terms of ranked, but they are plus 50,000 in the same likes of Utah State, SMU, UAB, Illinois, Northwestern, Florida State. We're in the same level as Florida State, so I guess we got that going for us.
And Oregon State.
Yeah, so Oregon
You
State,
just said Oregon
Rutgers.
State look back well.
So, yeah, if you bet $1 on ASU winning the national championship and they do, you'll be rich, or you'll be somewhat rich. But
you'll have $500.
Yeah.
So, which is $500 that you didn't have before.
Exactly.
But you will never have.
Connor, you definitely. I could tell you didn't really like that USC was in the so high in the national championship betting odds.
Yeah.
What stands out to you about the list?
I think that's just a case of the public betting a lot of money on them, so the books had to move their odds down. Right. But really, on paper, that's not. I mean, would you say they were tied for 5th highest? That's
tied for 5th with A&M, who beat Alabama.
It's not a top 5 team. I'm not sure which book offers this. Probably someone overseas. I would rather bet on USC not to finish inside the top 15 nationally than having a shot to finish number 1. I'm not buying it this season. I love Texas A&M this year. I don't know if I like them for a title future, just because they'll probably have to face another SEC team in the semifinals or national championship game. But I got them for the SEC title today, actually, at I think plus 1,600, which is a decent amount of value. It could be one of those teams that wins the SEC championship and then loses to Alabama or Georgia once they get into the playoff. But yeah, I really like Texas A&M. Do not like USC. It's weird because I don't have an inherent USC bias, but I just think they're being overrated this year.
Oh, they totally are. Okay.
I'm glad you're with me.
Yeah. I mean, their defense just didn't improve that much this offseason, and their defense was really, really bad last year. So, as we saw when ASU played.
Sorry for interrupting you. I know you're the host of this thing.
About time I get some respect on this show.
Yeah. Can we talk about a USC adjacent team? Kind of connected, even though they're on the other side of the country. I like Pitt. Even though they lose Jordan Addison, they bring in Keaton Slovis to replace Pickett. They've got perhaps the best defense outside of Georgia in the country. They got a pretty easy schedule. Mark, I
believe you. It's interesting knowledge.
Yeah, what are they at to win the national title right now?
To win the national title, Pittsburgh. They are at. They are at plus 17,000.
Love it.
500. So they're right in between Michigan State and Louisville.
Yeah, I already bet them to win the ACC, so I don't know if I'm going to double down on a title one, but that's a good number.
Okay.
Plus 1,200 to win the ACC. I like that.
I feel like that's a better bet than the national championship, but
yeah, Connor, I think has inspired me to go through and just throw some action on conference winners. I usually hate futures because I'm impatient and I'm terrible at gambling. I like to bet live dog lines and lose all my money. So, but right now I think I have a fresher perspective, and now I'm looking at some of these conferences, and I think I'm going to do it. And I think I'm going to watch college football through a new lens this year. I'm really excited about this. So
yeah,
fun way to do it. Certainly.
Yeah.
It sounds like you would enjoy Jake Paul's new website.
Ooh, I haven't heard about this. What's Jake Paul's new website?
It's like micro betting. So you
microdosing?
Yeah. Nice. So you bet on like the next play and you know your result within 5 seconds.
Ooh, that's more my speed. I noticed on DraftKings they do result of the next pitch. Is it going to be a strike? That is
crazy.
Yeah, it's like, is it going to be a strike? Is it going to be a ball? Is it going to be a hit? And hit is always like plus 800. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So if you predict which pitch the hitter actually hits, it's a pretty nice payout. But I think that's like even too micro for me.
Yeah.
I just get very impatient and I make very rash decisions when there's money in my betting account. So, but I do like these futures things. Maybe it's time I slow it down a little bit. I stop and smell the roses, if you will.
Right. And then one more future kind of topic to get to before we get to ASU stuff related to gambling is the Heisman winner. So right now, CJ Stroud is atop the list at plus 175. Bryce Young plus 350 is in second place. Caleb Williams plus 750. Alabama defensive end / linebacker Will Anderson 1,500. And then you've got Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bama running back, and Bijan Robinson, Texas running back, each tied for 5th at plus 2,000 each. Connor, which of these Heisman futures kind of sticks out to you?
I don't want to be a bad guest, but I don't have a play here. I don't want to bet on the Heisman winner. Like I'm all for people wanting to bet on whatever they want to, but I'm gonna elect not to bet on the Heisman winner. If gun to my head, I would say CJ Stroud has the best chances, but it's such a hard bet to make in August.
Yeah,
I would say if you really want to do it, it'd be perhaps more valuable in like October, early November. But so many things can happen. How many times have we seen someone go off in week 2 or week 3? And they win the September Heisman,
right?
And then they're nowhere near New York in November. Right. So I'm not betting this one.
I feel that. Colton?
Yeah, I want to see how often somebody from like even the top 3, maybe last year with Bryce Young might be an exception, but I feel like so often there's always a dark horse guy that comes out of nowhere and wins the Heisman, or at
Right.
least like a finalist, whatever it may be. I'm pretty sure nobody had Aiden Hutchinson on their bet slip in August to even be a finalist if you could bet on whatever. Or the year Joe Burrow won it. I don't even think he was on the preseason list. I remember one year there was Tua or Trevor Lawrence. I think this was the year Burrow won it. It was Tua or Trevor Lawrence, and then the field.
Yeah.
And the field was actually Tua and Trevor Lawrence, I'm pretty sure, are actually favored. So two guys were favored to win over every other player in college football. So it's kind of what Connor said, is you see this play specifically gets so overvalued with preseason favorites that it's just not even worth looking at it in late August, early September. I don't know, if you want to go all the way down and bet your favorite team's quarterback or whatever, that's probably the best way to do it. If you enjoyed, setting your money on fire, it's basically playing the lottery. So do what you want to do with it, but I will also be going nowhere near it. I still have not been able to find the odds. I'm still working on the BetRivers interface. This is not an indictment of BetRivers functionality in any way, shape, or form. I searched Heisman, didn't find anything.
I think it's the second on the college football page,
but anyway, I'm sure it's CJ Stroud, and I'm obviously blanking on all the names.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Yeah. When's the last time somebody went back to back? Is it somebody really obvious that I'm just like?
No, Archie Griffin. He was an Ohio State running back. It was either in the 80s or 70s.
Okay, so that answers my question. So Bryce Young is automatically out for me. I'd probably go with Connor and just go CJ Stroud. If you're going to bet a preseason Heisman, you might as well just go chalk or bet your favorite team's quarterback and hope for a miracle. But yeah, I can't talk. Probably no lean here for me either.
Yeah. Well, speaking of finding a diamond in the rough in the Heisman, Emory Jones, ASU starting quarterback, is on the list, very far down at plus 25,000 to win the Heisman. So is possible.
There's your dark horse.
One actual somewhat dark horse I like is Ohio State receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Fun to say.
You've seen a receiver win it recently with Devontae Smith, so I think JSN is that good. So, but
yeah, that game against Utah in the Rose Bowl was otherworldly.
Yeah. So there's your Heisman talk. Now,
Colton, I don't know what you're looking at.
Hang on, football futures. Give me 1 sec. I just want to look at the names too. Hang on. It's like it's functionality, man. I swear. It's the website. Okay, never mind. Just move on. I can't find it.
For sure. All right. Well, on to ASU and their odds. So we talked about where they would be in terms of winning the conference. They're have very low odds in the Pac-12, but what about their win total? So a lot of places have it set at 5.5. BetRivers has it exactly at 6. Over 6 plus 110, under 6 minus 139. If you listened last week, you would know that Colton would pick this to go over because you have them going 7-5. I would have it being a push because I have them at 6-6. Connor, if you were to bet ASU over under 6 wins, which direction are you going in?
You said the overs plus 110?
Yeah.
Then I'd go over because I have them at 6-6. So
you have them at 6-6 too?
Plus money.
Hey, no harm, no foul. No harm, no foul there.
I feel that.
It's always nice to have that push option. But you just get your money back.
I always buy the hook, man. I live dangerously.
Yeah. That burnt us last week.
Oh, that was one of the more crushing defeats I think I've ever had. I've learned that, like, my night, obviously I'm just like an insufferable person to be around for the rest of the night. But the second I wake up the next day, it's like You got to have short-term memory, man. You got to be like an NFL corner as a
Gotta
gambler, dude. Next play, next play, next play.
Mark,
1-800-GAMBLER. Call it if you need it.
Yes, that's important. Mark, we took the Bears Seahawks over, and it lost by half a point because the Seahawks couldn't get into the end zone at the end.
Yeah.
Dude, not only
I recommend don't taking Seahawks overs this year. There are gonna be a lot of times where they struggle to get into the end zone.
So not only did it stay under by half a point, Seattle recovered the onside kick, and then former Washington quarterback, whose name escapes me,
Jacob Eason.
There you go, Jacob Eason, marches the most inspired, meaningless drive I've ever seen in my life. It was poetry in motion until he decides to throw the ball up to Eagle legend J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and he drops another touchdown, which is what he was famous for on the Eagles. Then a touchdown is called back. Seattle has what was it, like 5 or 6 plays within the 5, does not score, and it stays under by half a point. Game also featured a missed field goal that would have pushed us over. So very, very, very crushing. But I dusted myself off and I got right back after it because that's what you should do. 1-800-GAMBLER.
You guys have watched more Seahawks preseason than I have this year.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Glad for preseason first downs, Mark. You do. You know you do.
Yeah, totally. No.
What are you gonna do with your Wilson jersey? Are you gonna take Wilson off?
I already have it. I'm not going. The only thing I might do with it is, if you guys know rookie Seahawks cornerback Tariq Woolen, I might. He's number 39, I believe. So I might like duct tape a 9 to the side, and then Woolen has 6 letters, just like Wilson does. So I can just duct tape the middle and take out the ILSO and replace it with 2 O's, an L, and an E, and then it's Woolen and Wilson. So
that's very creative of you, Mark. I hope he makes the team so that you can do that.
I hope so too, because he's supposed to be good. Anyway, circling back to ASU football, Connor, you mentioned they go 6-6. Most people are predicting that to be above average for ASU this year. Who do you have them? Do you have them beating, gone through the schedule and have them beating specific teams? And if so, how do you have their season playing out?
You want me to just rattle off the wins here?
Sure. Let's do it.
I'll go Northern Arizona, Eastern Michigan, Colorado, UCLA, Washington State, Oregon State.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So we both,
there.
the one game we agreed that ASU just has no chance of winning, Colton and I, was the game at Wazoo.
I don't like Wazoo this year.
You don't? Okay.
No. I would.
Right.
I love that. I don't know what their win total is. 4.5.
At 5.5, I saw. So
Under.
okay.
Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a stretch for ASU. It's like October 29 to November 19, 4 games. I think they could win all 4 in a row. Catch fire, save Herm's job.
Yay! Yay!
Yeah, 6-6 sounds about.
Yeah. This does feel like a team that's definitely good enough to go to a bowl game, but not much better than that. So
back to school.
Yeah.
Hey Connor, let me pick your brain real quick. Who do you have winning Conference USA?
I wasn't prepared for this one. I don't even know who's in the CUSA anymore. It changes every 6 months.
They've been affected by conference realignment a lot.
We got UAB back from the dead, UAB, and UTSA at the top of the conference at plus 175. And then the drop off is pretty steep. Western Kentucky's at plus 700. So it looks like it's a 2-man race between UAB and UTSA there. I don't know, man. Just something to think about.
UAB's fun because, like you said, they were dead and now they're still playing football somehow. And then, UTSA really good last year. I like UTEP maybe as a dark horse. They're always fun to watch, playing in 70,000 seat stadium in front of like 1,000 fans. That's for the real sickos. Some UTEP after dark.
That's some CBS Sports Network stuff there.
But no, I would say that's pretty chalky. I know you're trying to catch me off guard, but I would go chalk UAB or UTSA.
All right, nice. I just know that you're the best, so I wanted to make sure, like, you could rattle something off. And you can. You pass. So I didn't know there was a school called Charlotte in the Conference USA, so I learned something on this.
They're owned by Michael Jordan.
Oh, nice. That's really cool.
Organization.
Running back LaMelo Ball.
Have you seen Charlotte's uniforms?
The school Charlotte or the basketball team?
I believe it's the school.
The Charlotte 49ers uniforms?
Charlotte 49ers? That's what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Connor, what's so interesting about these? I don't.
They used to use an abbreviation.
Oh. That's great. I like the I like the little like pick.
The pick is cool.
That looks very cool. Definitely an unfortunate abbreviation. I don't know how that was approved.
Mark, is there a 7-second delay on this podcast?
Maybe.
I don't think anybody knows what the abbreviation is. We haven't read it, so we're good there.
They have picks on their helmets. We have forks on our helmets. All about getting the utensil headwear. So one last thing to wrap up this episode is I wanted to take a look at some of the individual statistical leaders from ASU last year and kind of play the over-under game with you guys and see if that number that they put up last year will be surpassed this year. So we're going to start with Jaden Daniels. He threw for 2,380 yards last year, which is not that much at all. And 10 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
It's not great.
Yeah. Colton, I'll start with you. Do you think Emory Jones or whoever is the starting, in the quarterback room, do you think anyone will be able to surpass 2,380 yards passing this year, over under?
I feel like that number is pretty low. Especially, I feel like most teams in college football want to throw the ball or at least be complimentary on offense. Mm-hmm. We've seen ASU's strength be the run game, and I think that's going to continue to be the case regardless of the offensive turnover. From the coaching standpoint, I think they're still going to try to rely on the run game, but hopefully they can be a little more complimentary. I think Jaden Daniels left a lot on the table last year. Just watching him play, you saw him miss throws high, missed a couple of wide open guys who could have gone for touchdowns. There was a lot of missed opportunities. So if we're seeing that floor a little higher with a guy like Emory Jones, who has played for a while, played in the SEC, we've gone in about all of this on recent podcasts, but I think Emory Jones has the makings. Maybe he's not exceptional. Maybe he doesn't blow anybody away. But if we're talking about a mark this low and he just plays consistent, high floor football, complements the run game, he should easily surpass this number, I think.
Yeah. Connor?
I've got Paul Tyson throwing for at least 3,000. So.
Wow. So does that mean you're predicting an injury to Emory Jones?
No. I think they're both going to shine. I think there might be a lot of garbage time available for Tyson.
Ooh.
No, just echoing what Colton said. Emory's got that SEC experience. I'm really excited to see him in a Sun Devil uniform. I watched a little of Florida last year and was impressed with him. Like you were touching on, not going to be tough to beat out Jaden's numbers from last year. What do you think about Jaden this year? Over or under at LSU?
Well, it depends if he gets named the starter.
Well,
It hasn't been official yet.
Didn't the backup quit football?
No,
Yeah.
but it's. I think he quit because they told him that he was going to be third, and so it's still Jaden and this other guy competing. But I mean, I think Jaden Daniels will start, and he'll do better than he did last year. Like last year was there was just clearly so much dysfunction, and even if he's like halfway between what he was last year and what he was his freshman year, he'll still put up better numbers than he did in 2021.
Yeah, 2,000 is like insanely low.
Yeah.
I feel like in modern football, that's like, that's
So
like, go ahead.
Yeah, so for reference, last year, Emory Jones at Florida threw for 2,734 yards, so that's almost 400 yards more. And Emory Jones wasn't like a great quarterback last year. Like he was good, but he wasn't great. And even then, 400 yards more, 19 touchdowns, so that's almost double of what Jaden threw. And then he did have 13 interceptions, so that's more than Jaden as well.
Those weren't on him.
So I'd imagine he is higher than Jaden in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and interceptions from last year. So I think the next interesting one comes here is last year Rachaad White led ASU with 1,006 rushing yards. Do we think that an individual Sun Devil rushes for over 1,000 yards and beats Rachaad White's record? Because you could say Valladay, but maybe they're splitting carries with him and Ngata. So,
What did Rachaad White's all-purpose yards look like? I'm trying to find that.
All-purpose.
I think that would be one that Valladay.
Yeah, I should have looked that one up. But
here, I'm trying to pull it up right now. But in terms of rushing yards, I think just straight up carries, it's going to be very split between Valladay and Ngata. So I'm not entirely sure if somebody's 1,000 feels like kind of a low number. I mean, but Rachaad White rushed for 91 a game, hit 1,000 yards. I don't know. I think we might see something like, because I'm looking at DeMonte Trainum here, Daniel Ngata. Let's see, 56 carries for Ngata, 78 for
that's more than I remember.
DeMonte Trainum. So I think we might see something a little closer to like 850 and like 650, 700, something like that. I don't think you're going to see in 1,000-yard rusher. There might not be a bell cow, but I think you're going to see more complementary running between two running backs. I think so that margin isn't going to be as wide, but the highest total isn't going to be as high. So I would lean under here. Rachaad White was kind of a bell cow for them last year. 182 attempts to Trainum 78. That was kind of his backfield. Obviously, they switched him up a little bit, gave him a blow every now and then. But I don't know. I see a much closer split between Valladay and Ngata, and I think that's why I'm going to lean under on the leading rusher. I'm trying to find
Connor.
I would lean under, like Colton was saying, just because of the splitting time aspect. But Valladay did have 2,000-yard plus seasons at Wyoming. A lot of good rushing defenses he was going up against in the Mountain West. So it's going to be tight. I don't know which book is offering this question. And I don't know if I would take it.
It's the Mob, not an official book.
Yeah. That's a good one. Very close. I'm excited to see what Valladay brings to the table. I think could be an X factor for Arizona State this season.
Definitely. I think Valladay, if there was a way to take Valladay's all-purpose yards, I mean, Daniel Ngata is not – he caught what – I'm looking at this right now. He caught, 4 passes last year for 29 yards. Trainum caught 4 for 19. I mean, Rachaad White caught 43 for 456. So there's a big share of the passing game for one of these running backs to step up and take. obviously, based on Ngata's numbers in receiving last year, that might not be him. And if it's Valladay, you could see him put up some pretty significant all-purpose yardage numbers.
Yeah. So I would take the over because I do trust Valladay to rush for over 1,000 yards this year. He has a lot of experience, like Connor mentioned, 2,000+ years in college at Wyoming, and also in 2020 in the COVID year, Wyoming played 5 games, but he had 550 yards and 4 touchdowns in those 5 games. So there's a chance maybe that Valladay, like, he gets a huge percentage of his yards early on in the season when they're playing NAU in Eastern Michigan. So I think that they will. I think that he'll go over, and in part just because ASU is going to run the ball because Herm Edwards plays old man football. So that has to be taken into account as well. Next up, we have Ricky Pearsall, who led all the receivers with 580 receiving yards. Do we think someone goes over that this year or under?
Chad Johnson Jr.
It's
That would
time.
be awesome.
Oh,
580 yards is like, that's 44 per game. That's what his average was last year. This passing offense was just horrendous.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
looking at these numbers, it's like how I mean, it makes sense that they stalled out so often last year. They had to live and die by the run game. And when if you can't throw the ball to get back into games and at least steal momentum back, like, it's going to be tough. I mean, I don't see how it goes back to what we saw with Jaden Daniels too. The bar has already been set so low by the guys from last year in this passing game that, I would be shocked if both of those numbers aren't exceeded by like a significant margin.
Yeah.
Something by even something around 700 yards for a receiver is still beating last year's mark by 120.
Right.
I think everybody was so devastated by Ricky Pearsall leaving and stuff, and I think that was just kind of because he was the only guy who ever made plays as a receiver.
Yeah,
right? But he's not necessarily like, it's not like Jordan Addison transferring
Right.
to USC. You know what I'm saying? It's just like he was the best out of a terrible room, a room of guys who didn't really live up to the billing from that class. I think it was last year and the COVID year. But yeah, I don't see how this mark isn't, just shattered. 580 is so low for a receiver. So
Yeah. Connor, what about you?
I already said it. Chad Johnson Jr.
Chad Johnson Jr. All right.
I'm not just saying that to be funny. I think if he gets on the field, he's going to show out. Can't wait to see it.
He was a highly touted recruit coming in. Sometimes guys take a bit to develop. Yeah, I think it'll get passed as well. Someone will have 600 yards. The biggest question is who it's going to be. The one guy I've seen mentioned at camp a lot is this D2 transfer, Charles Hall, just by the beat reporters I follow. So apparently he's a D2 guy, but hey, maybe he just comes out of nowhere and helps this team. That's a name to look out for.
Nothing wrong
Next
with
stat
D2. Nothing wrong with D2.
That's right. Next stat I see here is tackles, but I don't really think tackles is really like a great stat. So what we're going to do
also,
instead.
it's 80, right? Wasn't it Soeli with like 80 something?
Soeli, yeah.
You called him
82.
Soeli for like this entire show, and now all of a sudden, it's Sowell.
No, it's Soeli.
I said Soeli, and you said Sowell.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to.
I'm quitting the show. It's dead.
No. What are you doing?
Well, your lighting reminds me of like Zero Dark 30 when they're doing the rain.
That's what happens when I get in the lab. I go 0 dark 30, man.
Yeah.
Can't be disturbed when we start mixing it up.
All right.
Creating
We've got
content.
2 more categories till we get out of here. BJ Green had 5 sacks last year. Is there an individual player who eclipses that this year? Connor Colton.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. If they do, it'll be like 6 or 7 or something like that. But there won't be any Terrell Suggs out there, and there won't be any Brock Suggs out there either. So put it that way.
No one named Suggs will lead the team in
No,
sacks.
we won't see any Suggs-based production this year, I don't think.
It's early, though. Tough to say that definitively.
I think one guy who has a chance to do that would be Travis Moore, transferred from LSU last offseason. I think he injured himself early on last year, so we didn't see much of him. But
He injured himself?
Well, okay, he got injured. Wrong choice of phrase right there. He became injured early last year.
Why is he injuring himself?
He developed an injury.
Sorry, Mark.
Injured himself.
Wait,
Yeah.
Mark, who did you say? Who was your
Travis
guy?
Moore.
Okay, he's probably in like the 90s. He's a D.
He had 1 sack last year, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. According to ESPN stats, so. And then interceptions. This one should be interesting because last year ASU had 3 individual players each record 3 picks. 2 of those guys are going to be in the NFL. Darian Butler and Jack Jones each had 3, but Merlin Robertson also had 3. So does anyone surpass 3 interceptions this year for ASU?
I think if anybody could do it, I'm looking at either Jordan Clark or the second half of Johnson & Johnson with Cam Johnson, Isaiah Johnson. I think those 2 guys would be the candidate to pull it off. I feel like 3 is kind of a lot. So I don't know. This is another one that'll be close. But I think those 2 guys could. I think Isaiah Johnson could. He redshirted last year. He could kind of. We talked about him in a different episode, Mark.
Yeah.
He could be a guy that really bursts onto the scene and has a big year. And if he does, I don't know. I don't think 4 picks is out of the question. So if anybody's going to do it, I think it'll either be him or Jordan Clark. Those are the 2 guys I have that could possibly beat it.
Connor?
Thank you, Mark. I'll take Merlin Roberts. Like you said, 3 last year. Senior season this year?
Yeah.
One of the leaders on that defense. Yeah, I'll take 4 for Merlin.
Yeah, apparently Herm Edwards was saying like he's in great shape and
He looks good.
Yeah.
That's what Herm was saying.
Well, I heard a quote that Herm said he should be on like magazines or something. So hyping up his own players. I love it. So for reference, last year, the interception leader in the entire country was Oregon safety Verone McKinley. So with 6 interceptions. So usually 4 would be a very, very good season. That would have been tied for 11th best in the country last year. Interestingly, someone who was tied for 2nd is former Hawaii safety Corey Bethley, who is now on the Sun Devils when he had 5 interceptions last year.
Is that BYU Hawaii?
Nope, just regular Hawaii.
Okay, mahalo.
Yeah, he had 5 picks last year with the Rainbow Warriors. I'm bringing it up, but I don't think anyone's gonna surpass 3 interceptions this year. I think that's just a really high bar to clear, especially with turnovers being kind of random anyway. So
yeah,
if you do find a sportsbook / mob member to make these bets with, you can thank us for providing the guidance.
Only if they win.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't blame us if they lose.
We are not liable for your gambling debts.
Yeah, I feel like for a corner, to have a high number of interceptions, they have to be a somewhat bad corner. Does that logic check out?
Yeah,
like if somebody's like a lockdown corner, right? Like you're not going to see Jalen Ramsey ever lead the NFL in interceptions because nobody's ever throwing to him. So I don't know. I feel like if nobody surpasses that, obviously you want turnovers, but I don't know. Jack Jones was a good corner, but hopefully all of these guys blossom into people that quarterbacks don't want to throw at. I mean, you want those turnovers up, but I mean, there's a reason Trevon Diggs had 7 picks last year. It's because he's a terrible corner. So you heard it here first. Most overrated player in the NFL.
Unbiased commentary from Colton Dodson on the Dallas Cowboys. Get it here.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps up episode 8. Connor, thanks for joining us out of your busy schedule. I know the content lines are very demanding, so glad you could join us.
Thank you, boys, for having me on.
Of course, he wore his finest attire too, which is what I really like.
Yes, Mark told me dress like an ASU fan.
We have a very strict dress code on this podcast.
I'm just glad you came in clothed, Connor. That's all I could ask.
Yeah. Hang on, let me do the plugs real quick. Follow the podcast on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to see our faces and see what Connor looks like. He's very handsome. 3, me and Mark are in a next level type of production with a fantasy football league that we're in, and we are live streaming our draft. It'll probably end up being rounds 1 through 4. I will be hosting the draft alongside my stepfather, who has started a barbecue empire. He will be hosting it with me, and we will be giving away free barbecue sauce. We will be doing promo codes all weekend. And then there's going to be a gift basket giveaway if you make it through the entire thing, but I don't see how you couldn't. It's going to be must-see TV, streamed on Instagram Live at Boston's Red Sauce, spelled exactly how it sounds, and then at FFL Dirty Dozen. That's FFL Dirty Dozen. Please tune in. Like I said, you won't want to miss it. You'll see Mark blow the number 1 pick, and you'll see me not pick until the 3rd round because I sold my soul for my 3rd straight title. And that is it, I think, for plugs. Mark, you take it away.
Well, I know you wanted to mention the what we're gonna do, or what we'll.
Oh, that's right.
That's
right. We have some very big plans, some very special plans for the first game of the season. So we don't want to tip our hand too much. We don't want to give anything away. We want you guys to show up and see what we are cooking up for you. So I believe the first game is next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. We'll probably talk about it we might have to move the episode schedule around a little bit next week, but you will hear from us possibly on a different medium. All right, stay tuned to find out.
I think that's it, Mark. Yeah, tantalizing.
I'm a master of show.
Can I plug my Twitter here? Is that
acceptable? Please do, Connor.
If you want more Connor content, follow at Connor Pelton 28 on Twitter. That's ConnorPelton 28. I'd love to have you as a member of my following.
Go get marooned on Bonner Island.
That's the motto.
Yes.
It's Connor with an OR, not with an ER. Remember that.
Yes,
all right. Well, with that, that's going to wrap up episode 8. Thanks for joining in, and go Devils. Thanks for watching. Bye.